really good look at St Mary Redcliffe Parish Church, which is just up here on the right hand side. So St Mary Redcliffe is actually the largest parish church in the country. It's often mistaken for our cathedral here in Bristol because of its size. It's absolutely massive. It's quite a lot larger than our cathedral as well, and it's actually more beautiful in my opinion anyway. I think the cathedral we have here in Bristol is quite plain actually compared to like Wells Cathedral and stuff. But this church is absolutely magnificent. It's a fantastic example of 15th century Gothic architecture, and it's actually some of the earliest examples of Gothic architecture in England. It's definitely worth a look if you like old buildings. I mean, or God as well. It's definitely worth a look.
Did I mention him?
So we're travelling into an area of the docks now that's referred to as the Venice of Bristol, right? And you can clearly see why. I mean, it generally feels like we've just sailed into Italy, doesn't it, really? Look at it. Almost, if you squint your eyes, you couldn't mistake yourself for being in Venice. It's referred to as such because these buildings here to our right on the Redcliffe backs, they go all the way down into the water, storing things like cheese and grain and stuff, and the ships would come here, they would moor up directly alongside the buildings and load the cargo straight into the warehouses, which was a lot quicker than actually mooring up alongside the quayside. They're putting equipment that had been built to sort of look like the old ones. And it's because after the war, a lot of these buildings were completely destroyed. You know, there's loads of rubble down here, and that rubble, in fact, was actually sold to the Americans. The Americans shipped it over. They bring loads of aid over. They used the rocks for ballast in their ships to weigh them down so they were stable when they made the trip back over to America. And they actually used all the rubble that was once here to fill in a part of the East River in New York to lay the foundations for a brand new part of Manhattan. And that part of Manhattan is called the Bristol Basin. So it's a very, very small part of 1940s Bristol in modern day New York. Really, it would have been Victorian Bristol, really, so it would have been the Victorian warehouses. But it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So we're travelling up to Bristol Bridge now. Now, Bristol Bridge is the oldest bridge in the docks, and this is where the settlement of Bristol originally began. So over 1,000 years ago now, the Anglo-Saxons were travelling up the Avon, and they stopped here, and they built a bridge here, and it was actually the only place that you could cross the Avon for miles around. See, back then, 1,000 years ago, the River Avon, very, very dangerous river to cross. I mean, it still is a dangerous river, but it's certainly easier to cross. Pretty ridiculous considering we're about 7 miles away from the ocean. So they close these gates to stop the whole flooding. Most of the time it is just open though. And there's an old red brick chimney at the top of the hill. It was part of the old smelting works. There was also a tile works here as well, which was started by Brunel in the 1840s. The tile works itself was running continuously until the 70s, 1970s. Some days, actually, when you get just up here, you can smell the tar in the air when it's quite warm. Don't know if we'll be able to smell it today. I don't know if it's warm enough, but maybe on the way back. But keep your nose out for it, alright? So might smell the tar. We've got the Tower Bell here as well, which is another one of our boats. Taking a nice leisurely cruise up and down the river. Make sure we give them a good wave when they go past. And if we do more waving on this boat, it means we're having a better time.
We'll put a wave.
display of waving on their part, isn't it? Oh, a bit more than an hour and a half actually. You can be all back on the boat by 2 o'clock, yeah? Alright? Cool. And you're more than welcome to leave your stuff on there as well. Record because of this red sandstone cliff that you can see here. And they discovered when they were building these beautiful Georgian townhouses, I mean obviously eventually Redcliffe got swallowed up by the expanse of Bristol, became a part of the city eventually. And they realised that this red sandstone was actually really good for making glass out of. So they mined it. Italian sailor and explorer who went by the name Giovanni Caboto. Now Mr. Caboto came to Bristol in search of a ship and a crew. When he got to Bristol though, he quickly realised that no one around here could say his name proper, so he changed it to John Cabot, a very widely celebrated figure. But his real name was Giovanni Caboto, and he obviously went on to discover mainland North America, or Canada as we call it today. We've also got the Balmoral here. Balmoral has just been repainted actually, just come out of the dry dock. So the Balmoral launched in Southampton in 1949, and it was a ferry tasked with ferrying British holiday goers around to sunny and exotic locations like Weymouth, Woolacombe and Ilfracombe and other holiday destinations such as those. And that's what the great British public did before cheap airline travel. You know, they'd pile onto a boat like that in their striky bathing suits with their deck chairs, their picnic hampers, and be taken on a fantastic holiday away from the trials of normal life. This facility here, these two barges directly to our right now, is one of the only places in Bristol, it's the only place that they steam wood in there. So they sort of, we're still making wooden boats here in Bristol. They steam the wood and bend it into the shape of the boat. They do it all here in this. So you can see the steam coming out of that chimney sometimes. Got the old gasworks coming up on the right hand side as well, these grey brick buildings with the circular windows on them. So what used to happen in these buildings is they would originally melt down and put oil, whale and seal fat, which would then be mixed with sorts of horrible chemicals like sodium, cyanide and arsenic. And this produced a very brightly burning flammable gas which powered the street lamps of Victoria, Bristol. The luxury apartments, £1.4 million for the top penthouse suites with the circular windows at the top. We've got new habitat being built. I say built, but grown, I guess. So every year, more and more birds are coming to nest here in Bristol. It's become quite a popular place. Loads of swans, loads of geese, loads of cormorants, etc. So we need habitat for them. We need more habitat for them to nest. And this is what this is here, this sort of floating reed bed. You can see the swans making use of it over there. Really, really clever idea. This space isn't used for anything, so it's really, really nice actually to see it being used for something. So here we are, the SS Great Britain, here on our left. So this is arguably Brunel's masterpiece, right? This is the steamship Great Britain, as it was otherwise known. It was also known as the ship that changed the world, and it very much did in regards to how we travel the world's oceans. So this was the world's first great ocean liner. So it was the dawn of a new way of travelling.